as you mentioned before, there was the great resignation that we would continuously hear about. And I had a real hard time with that term. I felt that it gave a negative connotation to the employee, and that it was, people just quitting their jobs for the sake of quitting their jobs. I'm fed up, and I'm just I'm gonna quit. And that means that there's no like forethought, there's no I guess process in that. And I think, again, that's a negative representation of the traditional, or of the typical person that went through that. And to me, I think it was you that actually said it to me first, of how it was the great reflection. And to me, that really resonated with the people where that linchpin was pulled, as much as I'll use that again, where when COVID hit and people were able to work remote and then realized that they could do it and they could do their jobs. And then we had this like existential moment where our mortality came into question, and all these different things, and kids are working from home, and family members are passing away, and all this stuff's happening. And all of a sudden there's this great reflection of what's really truly important to me. Is this job that I'm doing like giving me fulfillment? I asked, the loaded question all the time, like, would you do this terrible job if it paid you $1 million? Lots of people say yes. And then you reverse engineer back and go, okay, well, how far would you go, and what's that dynamic or the difference? And I always joke with my team, I go, well, I hope we've kind of got the sweet spot where you've got a great place to work, you have fulfillment from your job, and we pay you pretty good. I hope we have that sweet spot figured out. But I think like the great reflection was far more of a realistic statement than the great resignation. And just wondering, like, obviously you're on that side, you're working with these large companies that probably experience that a lot more than maybe some of the clients in our market, and just what your kind of thoughts were on either that great resignation or reflection, and the next gen workforce, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, we are definitely in a workforce revolution, and I personally think it's so exciting to be a part of it, because I've been in this learning and development space for 20-ish years now, and so I've always been very passionate about upskilling folks, either to learn how to do their jobs better through the use of technology or through improved processes. And then I really found my passion in leadership development, both with emerging leaders, folks that are new to supervising or management, or long-term leaders that need kind of a wake-up call. Like, this is not how people want to be treated. So for me, it's just underscoring beliefs and passions that I've had for a really long time, that work shouldn't suck.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up with a single mom, and she had to work. She had to put food on the table for her two kids. And she didn't have her college education, so she just kind of took what she could get. And she was not living her most fulfilled life. She wasn't jumping up every day going, wow, I can't wait to go do this. She got lucky, had a couple of great bosses and great gigs, but overall, like, it was really hard to watch. And so I think it just instilled something in me at a very young age, that if you're going to work for so many hours in your week, I mean, you really think about it, you're working and you're sleeping, and the time that's left is not very much when all is said and done. So if you have all of this time that you're doing a job, my God, shouldn't you enjoy it? Shouldn't you feel some fulfillment, passion, excitement, joy in it? You hear about the Sunday scaries and the dread, and I have so many friends that have been there, and it just is I'm so glad we're in this revolution, because I really think now it's like, okay, we're being more human than ever. I mean, it's not only, as you were saying, going through a global pandemic and questioning our mortality, and fearing leaving our homes, and fearing for our families' lives. I mean, gosh, we all went through that together on a global scale. When have we ever done that in our lifetime? But then, I mean, in the States, we've got this racial reckoning that we're coming to, and we have, all of these political things that are happening, and we have, I mean, there's just, I feel like I'm talking to my children who are, teenagers. I'm like, you are living through one historical event after another.
Mm-hmm.
But finally, we're talking about mental health in the workplace, because you can't just put your emotions in a box when you show up at work. Or you can, but you can't expect to be productive and successful. You've got like an empty person plugging away at their computer. You have to be able to talk about these things, because mental health is health. No two ways about it. I'd argue that it's more important than your physical health, because I think it impacts your physical health. So it's just such an interesting time, I think, to be in the work that we're doing. And I think we're going to look back, in 20 years, and just think about how archaic work was prior to the way it is now. I mean, having I was just about to swear. Sorry, having
Ah,
jerky bosses. I think the word, you can fill in the blank with whatever word you
sure.
want there. Having jerky bosses and having, just unrealistic expectations of workloads and the amount of work that people are doing, this chronic burnout people are suffering from. Like that all needs to go away. Work does not have to be like this. People can wake up every day, because if they do wake up feeling fulfilled and excited and joyful and passionate about the work they're doing, hands down, you're going to get the best work out of them. And isn't that what you want when you hire these talented people? Don't you want to give them the environment to reach their full potential and give everything that they have to the work that they're doing for you?
Yeah.